Thank you all for being here. Patrick, do you want to get back up and do that whole thing again because of the recording? Okay. Thank you guys for being here tonight. It's a very important night for us all in the city of Germantown with a major road plan update, something that we haven't seen since the mid-90s, and this major road plan for our city be updated. So we're very excited about that. My name is Andy Sanders. I serve the city as the city engineer, and most recently got the opportunity to serve as the assistant city administrator as well. So I'm very excited about that and excited about this possibility tonight. So why are we here? Why are we talking about a major road plan, and why is it important to our city? Well, the major road plan for our city basically allows for us to categorize the functional classification of our transportation network, so it serves the needs of every citizen and resident of the city of Germantown. Now, that's a lot of fancy talk transportation-wise to say we want to ensure that the roads that you use are in place and serve you for the purpose for how you use that transportation network. So that's the reason why your input is so important to us tonight. We want to ensure that how you use our transportation network, whether you go to work in Germantown or maybe you go to work in Memphis and you have the city of Germantown at home, maybe you travel through the city of Germantown to get to wherever you're going. However you use our roadway network, we want to ensure that you use it in a way and that it's planned for and prepared for in the future in a way that best helps you get from point A to B, and whatever that is. So your input is vital to that discussion this evening. It's vital to us better understanding how to plan for the use of our major roads in the city of Germantown. So that's the reason why we have comment cards. We have an interactive map that we'll go through very shortly this evening. We have a very thoughtful presentation that the Pickering firm and Kimley Horn put together as our consultants on this project. We have all that because we really, really want your input in this process. We want to know how you use our roads to best serve you for the future. As the city of Germantown continues to grow, we'll continue to add to this picture of the major road plan as well. So that's kind of like a transportation perspective. I'm a city engineer, so I kind of speak that language. But I want Cameron Ross, our economic community development director, to come up here and also kind of tell you maybe from a planning standpoint why it's important as well, why we need your input tonight for this major road plan as well. I'll turn it over to Cameron.
Thank you, Andy. Thank you, Patrick. So as Economic and Community Development Director, I look at the major road plan more from an organization perspective. My original background is in biology and economy. So I like to think of my transition from studying communities of bugs to communities of people, that it's relatively seamless because everyone wants to move around in efficient ways and have clear travel patterns to the places that they live, the places that they play, and the places that they do business at. And so when you think about that, there is not much difference between, say, the way our circulatory system works and our skeletal system works that holds us all up together as an organism. That those are all different pathways to keep us alive. So really the street network is a way to keep the city alive, keep the city vibrant, and to Andy's point, serve the needs of every resident. Because some days I want to walk on the road, some days I want to ride my bicycle on the road, but being honest with you, every day I use my car on the road. And as this project is going to go through the exercises and input community, it helps to create priorities for those roads. And those priorities are developed through the input from you here tonight in person and from those that are joining us remotely. But making sure that those priorities are corresponding with the land uses that we have currently within our city, so that the roads aren't too wide in certain places, or they are sized appropriately for other ways to move people efficiently through the city. But it's all about making sure that we are thinking about all modes of transportation, all users, and balancing that so that we can be a healthy, vibrant city, the same way that we're all healthy, vibrant people when we move around the city on the street network. So not to stand further in the way of the great presentation that Michael Shelton has put together, I'm going to turn this over to Mike.
Thanks, Cameron. You pretty much finished it. So really quickly, Aaron, can you give us a check? Is everything good on the Zoom meeting?
Yes, so far so good.
Okay, so as mentioned, we have some people on a Zoom meeting, and this meeting is being recorded, so that it'll be available to review by the rest of the community in the future. And so we're also going to have some facilitated questions from folks in the virtual world as well. So again, I'm Michael Shelton. I'm going to go through a slide deck. We put a few slides together. It's not extensive, but we did want to give kind of an overview of what we're doing, the process, what is this. Andy and Cameron have both kind of talked a little bit about that, but explain what that is, and then show you some tools that we have to get some input. So it's early in the process right now, and getting the community's input and feedback is going to help inform what the plan is. So this is the first meeting to help facilitate some of that. Okay, so tonight's agenda, we've done some introductions. We're going to go through the hybrid meeting format. As I mentioned, this is a Zoom meeting and obviously an in-person meeting. So we're going to cover some of that in a slide. We're going to give a project overview, just really kind of high-level overview of what the project is. As I mentioned, look at the project site, the website that's been set up to interact map, the way to obtain some additional feedback from the community. And then talking about the public input, and then we can have questions and answers, both in person as well as from the folks on the Zoom call, and then talk about next steps in the schedule of the project. So the hybrid meeting format. So there's a Q&A. This is set up as a webinar for the people that are online. So there's a way to submit questions. We have Aaron and Amber, as I mentioned. Those are some other folks from the planning team. They're going to monitor that. And so as the questions come in, when we get to that point, they'll feed the questions to us and we can respond that way. So the people on the Zoom meeting, please use the chat or the Q&A options to submit your questions and we'll address those. So project overview, what is a major roads plan? Cameron and Andy really went over it well. So this is a planning tool. In the overall comprehensive planning world of all the components, the major road plan is a really important piece of the transportation plan, which builds upon other planning initiatives that the city has. And the existing road plan is fairly old, so thinking it's time to make that update as the city continues to move forward with other planning initiatives. So activities that are part of the project. Right now, we're looking at the existing scenario in the modeling stage. So modeling what the existing roadway is, capacity that it can handle, and then ultimately, based upon the input that we get from the community and what the modeling and everything shows, we'll be able to provide some recommendations and a couple options for recommendations, and then ultimately provide that full build-out scenario for the roadway. We're going to show some improvement examples too, some of the things that we're talking about. Have some images here just to give you a better idea of what we're talking about doing. This is the existing plan, the existing major road plan. This was developed in 2009. So this is kind of the starting point of where we'll begin. As we move forward in this process, we're doing it in the GIS-based platform, so a web-based platform. So ultimately, the end product is going to be a GIS map that's going to be able to be available to the city. So some examples of what we're talking about and doing a major road plan update. So new roadway connections in Germantown where there's not room for much growth, right? We're surrounded on all sides. But looking where there could potentially be some needs for new roadway connections, where might we need to widen existing roads? If there's capacity issues, maybe there needs to be a widening, maybe there doesn't. Multi-use paths, where can we accommodate bike and pedestrian? Something that this plan is really going to focus on is bike and pedestrian use, whereas, in your typical major road plans in the past, have not really looked at that so much, but the city definitely wants to put a focus on bike and pedestrian. And knowing that just in the city, we have a bike and pedestrian commission. There was a bike and pedestrian walkability task force a few years ago that we put together. So really that is a key component to this plan moving forward. So looking at where the bike facilities are, do we need to improve any of those, or do we need new ones at different locations? Utilizing excess roadway pavement. I'll show it in the images here, but where do we have really wide roads, that all that excess pavement that we don't need? How can we reutilize some of that space? Is it for bike lanes, or are we going to maybe talk about moving curbs, or when there's wasted pavement, what can we do to better facilitate those public rights of way? And then sidewalk connections, of course. The interactive map, when we get to that piece, that's going to be a really valuable tool to try to identify where there's gaps in that connectivity, which there's already some use on that website now, where people are kind of showing some of those points where we need sidewalks. So when I say new roadway connection, here's an image of what I'm talking about. So this is the Wolf River Boulevard connection between Kimbrough and Farmington that was put in a few years ago. So that was a need that was identified. That roadway connection was put in. So looking at this type of scenario, where might there be a need to provide some additional roadway connections? Widen existing roads. This is Forest Hill Irene near the new elementary school. So that project recently was finished, widening that roadway, doing the landscaping and the pedestrian and bike improvements along that stretch of Forest Hill Irene. Multi-use paths, the Germantown Greenway, everyone knows the Greenway, but where can we provide these opportunities in the future Greenway connections? So not just looking at the public right-of-way for the road in general, but we're looking at what are the needs and the demands for people moving from place to place. The Germantown Greenway can serve as a use other than just recreational use, where we can provide meaningful connections through bike and pedestrian use off the roadway as well as on the roadway. Improved bike facilities. So this is an image on Riverdale Road. The city has a lot of bike lanes. So looking at where those bike lanes are, where they need to be improved, where we can provide additional bike lane connections. And then the excess roadway pavement. This is on the Neshoba, which, that's just a wide road between those curves. So 2 lanes of traffic, one way, one lane each way, and we have wide bike lanes. So I think adding the bike lanes in this type of scenario is good, but that's still really wide. So and we have several streets like this in the city. And where can we identify those and figure out new uses for those wide roads? Bike lanes make a lot of sense. There may be other uses as far as landscaping or other things that could be done to maybe slow traffic calming measures to keep vehicles moving slower in the neighborhoods. And then sidewalk connections. This is a Poplar Pike near the Target, actually. But where a sidewalk just terminates and there's a gap in the connectivity, looking at those spots, how can we identify those areas and prioritize making some of those needed sidewalk connections? So the idea of complete streets, how many people, just raise your hand, have heard of the term complete streets? So about half the folks here. So, as we're looking at making roadway improvements, we're looking at this idea of complete streets as much as possible. Where if you look at the image on the screen, you see the image on the left it's all about vehicles, right? It's just accommodating vehicular use. the image on the right, you see some bike lanes, you see some enhanced striping in the roadway, you see a pedestrian crosswalk, you see sidewalks, you see landscaping. So it's really looking at public right of way for all uses, not just for cars. So in the past, that's been the purpose of the roadway. But more and more cities are leaning towards making more complete streets. And I know there's big initiatives here in the city of Germantown to do that. So as we look at making improvements and look at making recommendations for our roadways, if we're providing new roadway connections, how do we try to implement these complete streets concepts as much as possible and where it's feasible? And the image on the right, that just shows an example of one. Kind of a place you want to be, not just drive through, but maybe you want to be in that space. I talked about bike and pedestrian. So continue to look for those opportunities wherever possible, not just on the greenway, but also on our roadways, how to make meaningful connections with our bike system along the roadways. So we're going to go into shortly here an explanation of the interactive website feature and show you how to use some of these tools. You can access that through this QR code. You can pull your phone out now if you wanted to scan this code. It'll pull you right into the website. But that is the name of the website, germantown-tn.gov/major road plan. And Aaron is going to give us a demonstration here shortly of the project website.
Great. Thanks, Michael. Yeah, as Michael said, as this slide is still on the screen, if you have, and also on your comment cards or the flyers in front of you, you have this QR code that you can also scan from your phone. Those that are online, you can access it either by typing in, as Michael said, the address that's on the screen now. But starting now, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen, and you're going to see what you'll access when using the interactive map in Project CIte. So when you first access the Germantown Major Roads Plan project site, this site is intended to be used throughout the project length from start to finish. And it's used as a way to communicate to the public and to you all the progress of the project itself, provide you information about what is being collected as well as the process that's being followed to develop the updated roadway or the major roads plan, and also provides you an opportunity to ask other questions or pose different feedback and recommendations directly to city staff and the project team. So again, when you first access the site, you'll see this first landing page, gives you a brief summary of what the project entitles. It also provides the timeline. We are here at our first public meeting. So again, thank you for attending. And we will have a second public meeting in July, which will be following the existing and proposed build out scenario, as well as following the build out scenario modelings that we'll be doing. During that phase, during the April to June time, we'll also be taking the feedback that you all have provided into consideration when we're developing those different scenarios for build out. And then in August is the projected time in which the project will be complete, and that will also be following when that second public meeting is. Now, as we said, this project website will be open throughout the project, and we will be posting regularly updates to the project. As of last week, this first public meeting was supposed to be scheduled, but due to weather constraints, it was updated to be tonight, and that's some of the information that you can expect to see on the site is updated information about the project plan in the progress. Now at the very bottom, we have the public input section. On there, you're going to see 3 items as of right now. Right now, we have the interactive map that will allow you to leave geographically based project specific recommendations in your area or areas that you are familiar with. We also have the same comment form, a copy of that those are in attendance at the public meeting right now in person is the same comment form that you have in front of you. And so those that are online in our virtual setting, you can fill out that same comment card. But this comment form is going to be the same information that you'll fill out on the map that I'll show you in just a moment. We also encourage you on this last survey down here, which I'll bring up after I go over the map, a series of additional questions that is going to provide the city some better insight into what your priorities are with the types of improvements, what priorities in regards to the infrastructure that you want invested within your community, and the types of items that make a desirable street and complete street within your area. So we'll go over those questions in just a moment, but I'm going to go right back up to where it says click the application below to access the interactive map. When you click that, it will bring up a separate site into a new window. And as Michael said, this site has been open for about 2 weeks now, and it's already gotten comments that have been left by the residents and citizens within the area. On the left side here, when you first open the map application, you'll see a brief description of all the different tools and icons that are within the interactive application, and it gives you understanding of what each one does and how to access. So as you scroll down, you'll see the descriptions of each icon and what each one, each functionality of is available. So moving from left to right is your info tab. So again, the instructions. The second one is going to be your editing tool. This is where you're going to actually drop your comments anywhere on the map. The third icon is your legend, so that if you pan around the map using your mouse, or if you're on your phone, you can scroll in by using your 2 fingers or by pushing the plus or minus sign in the top left corner of the map. Allows you to zoom in and out on your phone or even on the desktop. This fourth icon here is the layer list. Now, in addition to the layers that are shown on your map here, there's a series of other layers that you can turn on and off on the map. Give it a second to refresh. We'll come back to that in just a second. And if you're someone that likes to have your aerial in the background and you know every tree within your neighborhood and that helps you navigate around the map better, you can click on the fifth icon here with your base map gallery, and you can change the background to be an aerial view. You can have a black and white view if you'd like to see the other comments pop out a little bit easier, or you can go back to the streets view, which provides your street names and that information within your neighborhood. I'm gonna go back to the layer list and see if that repopulates. All right, we'll refresh that in a second. So how do I add a comment to the map? Well, I'm going to zoom back out and I'm going to click on the second icon for the smart editor. I'm actually going to just, there we go. So what you'll see here is we have 2 different types of comments that you can add. You can add point location comments, and those are like specific area oriented. So they can be an intersection, an area of the street, a part in the area, but they're going to be point specific. The second type of recommendations are corridor based or length. So when we talk about point locations, the types of options that you have is excessive traffic, speeding issues, traffic signal needed, difficult to cross the street, or if you have other ideas or other feedback that you'd like to provide about a specific area, we also have an option to just push other. And when you go down to the corridor-based recommendations, so recommended connections, you've got new roadway connection, widen existing road, multi-use path, new or improved bike facility, sidewalk connection needed, or again, for those that are a catch-all or for additional more specific detail, we've got an other option. So let's go ahead and just zoom into an area. And I want to give an example of how you would add a new comment. So I want to turn on the aerial so I can see what road I'm looking at. And let's say that I want to add a bike facility improve the bike facilities between this point in this neighborhood. So I could come in here, go to my smart editing tool. So to the second icon, and I want to go down to new or improved bike facility. So I'm going to click on the new and improved bike facility corridor, navigate to the map, and you can see that the map is already telling me that to start drawing, I'm going to click to start drawing or press Control to enable snapping. And then each point, I'm just going to click my mouse, and on your phone, you're just going to tap on the screen and trace the roadway in which you want to see that new improved bike facility. Now, once I double clicked, that means I'm done drawing. And then you'll see on the left side, it asks a series of several simple questions. One, describe what you want to see. So I want to see improved bike lanes. And don't worry about spelling. We will help you on that on the back end when we're reviewing the comments. Now, say I chose new improved bike facilities, but actually I want it to be sidewalks. I can go back and change that original selection if I wanted to, but I'm going to keep it to the bike facilities. The second question is, what is your connection to Germantown area? You're either a resident, you live here within the city, within Germantown limits, you work in the area, you work and live, or you're visiting. I'm going to say I'm visiting the area. So I was in the area and I would love to have a better bike facility in this facility. And then for zip code, you're going to just add the zip code in which you live in. Now, this is meant for us to understand from the staff and the project team's area of where the comments are coming from so that we can better do outreach to the areas that are maybe underserved or we haven't heard a lot of feedback from. And that's all the questions that you need to answer for the purpose of leaving a comment on the interactive map. Now, if I push save, this bike facility will stay there. If I click close, it will ask me if I'm really sure if I want to close without saving. Of course, I don't want to do that. I don't want to save because I want to hear from you on where your improvements are. So when I click no, all the things that I added no longer are there. So if you're in the process of adding a comment, you've changed your mind, or you've realized you're adding the comment in the wrong area, you can just unsave or just say no to when you save the record and you can start over. All right, so let's go back to my layer list to see if that's going to come back. So while that's refreshing, back to the project website homepage. As I said before, you access it from that public input area, and then we had those two comment cards down here at the bottom. The first comment card is the same questions that I just went over when you're adding a comment to the map. So if you're not comfortable with adding your comment to the map, or you're unsure of a specific area that you actually want to leave a comment about, you can use the comment form instead. And again, tell us whether you're a resident, you work in the area, live or work, or you're visiting. Let us know what zip code you're coming from. And you're going to have the opportunity to say the same feedback, such as what constraints or conditions you'd like to see improved within Germantown, or what specific roadway improvements or recommendations within Germantown you'd like to see. And you can add in your text if it's not project specific or location specific. We also have a location if you have additional feedback or recommendations that you'd like to direct at staff. Once you filled out those sections, you just push submit here at the bottom, and that goes directly to the project team and to city staff for their review. Back on that main page again, I had recommended that there's a final survey down at the bottom. I'd encourage you to share this with your neighbors, with your members of your household, and others that may not have been at this meeting, because again, this survey is going to be up here the entire project length. When you click on the Major Roads Survey, you're going to have additional questions that are beyond just map-based or site specific. We're going to start asking you questions about if you feel safe within Germantown, like the roadways itself. We also want to hear what your description of a pleasant roadway or street would be. What's your perfect street vision? Want to ask also about city greenways, if your use of those and how often. Reasons for why you're traveling the public roadways, whether that be to get to work, or shopping, leisure, recreation, or other. The series of questions in regards to your mode of transportation, your preferred method of either driving, riding the bike, walking, use of public transit, or rideshare. As Michael asked you in the beginning about complete streets, if you're familiar with the concept or not, this again is going to help us update the project website so that we can provide you more informed information and tailor the project experience to better educate the community on the improvements that are being made. And then we'll also ask you about the importance of these types of roadway improvements, such as bike lanes, sidewalks, medians and landscapes, crosswalks, pedestrian lighting, multi-use paths and separated paths, and then bus routes and bus shelters. And its options at the top that we'd like you to choose from is, this is important, must be included on all roadways. It's important, but not required. So it's a priority, but understand if it can't fit. We have not important and no opinion. So those are the different options that you can choose for each of the types of roadway improvements that are on the survey. And we'll also ask you in your average travel distance with each of the modes as well, and then which age group you fit into, because streets aren't designed for one age group. The roads as a sustainable and long-term improvement should last the lifetime of your community. And so after you fill out that information, that's going to provide us great feedback on how, again, we can tailor these master plans and these projects to fit your community needs. Push submit, and you're off to the races. So with that, I'm going to pause for a moment, see if anybody in the room has any questions, or those that are online. If you have any questions, remember you can use the chat or the question boxes on your Zoom meeting to ask anything that you may have at this time.
Any questions related to the interactive mapping or survey or comment card? Yes, sir.
Suggestion where you designate work in Germantown, work outside, food. One that's really missing in Germantown or retired is hopefully different counties. Going to work in the morning. So I think they use that.
Good comment. Aaron, can you hear that?
No, can you summarize that for the recording?
So talking about the categorizing of retired folks, that the travel pattern for people that are retired would be a little bit different. So in our survey to include that as well.
Yes.
Well, I'll go back to transition here, Aaron. I'm going to share my screen again. Can you see that, Aaron?
Yes.
Okay. So again, that was a lot of information for these tools that we have, but they're really going to be valuable ways to get into it. And so I think it's this group, obviously, people that are really engaged and want someone along to share this with the community is going to be really important. So sharing the website information, pushing out, helping to get that survey out there and getting comment cards. And again, if there's not a comfort level with the online options, we're trying to provide multiple options with the written surveys and comment cards to just get as much feedback as possible. So Aaron, are there any Q&A questions from the virtual meeting attendees?
At this time, they are being shy and they haven't provided any comments or questions.
Yes, ma'am, we have a question here. What, Aaron, was there a specific tool to note crosswalk locations? Interactive map.
Yep, within the interactive map, there is an option to add difficult to cross the street. There's an icon for that. Now, if you have a specific comment such as, you'd like to see improved crosswalks, or there may be a different treatment that you're interested in, feel free to use the other icon. And we're going to review all of these comments and questions. So if you pick a category that, it may fit within two, that's okay. We're going to summarize them the same way, and we're going to be able to apply them to the correct category for the purpose of the plan. So the most important part is that you give us the feedback, and then we'll help categorize those. And they may break up into multiple as we start getting feedback from others.
Yes, sir.
How about somebody made a comment?
Aaron, the comment questions from Alderman Sanders, and it's about the fact that there could potentially be lots of the same comments, and how do you accommodate that to make sure that you're showing that there are multiple comments that could be the same thing.
Sure, and we're going to get that. We also anticipate that there'll be comments that maybe conflict each other, because that's the beauty of the fact that everybody's able to leave their feedback and provide input as part of this project. We're going to look at all of the comments. Just because one recommendation has multiple similar a specific location in the map may have the same comment added multiple times, we're not going to weight those any differently as to the preference. It's more what makes the most sense when we run the scenarios and the models to understand what's best for the community. But the recommendations as a whole will be looked at and evaluated and kept as part of the plan. So all comments will be reviewed and analyzed the same way. But if you see a comment that's already there, don't feel like you don't need to leave the comment. We would love for you to still provide that feedback, and so that we do know that there is higher priority in some of those areas, so that we can look at it in more detail. So.
Almost like a live feature, right? Yeah. So Aaron, maybe we can talk about that, on the tool, is there a way that it's just an easy like, where you get a thumbs up on a comment or something of that nature?
Yeah, the way that we've set up this application, there are other platforms that would allow for you to, like or thumbs up. Obviously, we don't want thumbs down any comments. We're all positive thinkers here. But for this one, it is not set up to be able to like other people's comments. So that's why we encourage you that if you have a similar comment, go ahead and drop that in. And you can even just add, same as previous user. And with that, also, Michael, we've had 2 other questions sent in from those in attendance virtually. If there's
1 second, Ethan, did you have something that?
You need to be instructed before they put your comments in. If you can't do it live, then don't request it.
Yeah.
Because people say they don't do it. Maybe 100 people don't do it, and all you have to do is do it.
Yeah, so maybe that clarification in the instructions. Yeah. So clarifying when we can get in there, Aaron, I think to clarify that to encourage people to put the comment, even if it's already there,
Sure,
to make people understand that in the instructions on the website.
definitely. Great comment, great feedback. This is also some of the feedback we want as part of this project throughout, because this tool is meant to be educational and a communication tool for y'all as part of the project team. So thank you for that.
Okay, you had some questions from online?
Yeah, and on the topic of leaving comments, if you do leave a comment that you know later on realize it's in the wrong location, or you want to modify that, feel free to use the comment card that's on that first page and just let us know. If you just say, I submitted a comment on such and such roadway and I meant to leave this comment, or please remove. If you submit that, we'll be able to remove that within the same day or within 24 hours. So no big deal. Don't be scared to leave comments. There's always a way to address it, and you're in constant communication with us through the project site as well as through the comment form option. And to go to the specific questions that have been asked, what is the proposed budget for the improvements, and where is that funding coming from?
We'll hand that over to Andy.
So we have federal dollars for this project. I'm very happy to say from the federal government through the Memphis NPO. It's 80% federally funded and 20% locally funded for the project. I believe the project budget had around $100,000 for the project in total. So that's about where we stand from a funding standpoint. And we've had some great consultants on this project as well that have been included in this project, and looking forward to this process moving forward. So, I believe I'll check on that just to make sure, but I believe it was around $100,000 for this project.
And Andy, while you're still there, we've got a kind of a follow-up question that may be similar to that. One of the questions is this project going to involve major construction on any roadways? And I think this might be a question as it relates to the difference between a major roads plan and what proposed projects and roadway projects are. So maybe just a clarification between what this major roads plan is going to result to versus actual construction on roadways.
Sure. This is a planning document. It's used for us as a tool so that we can better plan for the city's transportation needs. So we will take the recommendations, the public input that we receive, they'll be incorporated into that plan, and that will lead us down a pathway of making those capital improvements that we will apply for through different programs that the city will utilize federal funding as well as local funding for to facilitate those future needs as we move forward as a city. So it's really a planning process for us to not only realize our existing needs, but also to work towards those future needs. Regarding construction.
The work session between this meeting and the second meeting, will that be open to the public to come and sit and listen?
Absolutely. We're working towards a similar format as we have tonight, this hybrid format. So this is kind of the guinea pig of this process for the city, to have this kind of hybrid format here where we have an online Zoom component, live discussion, broadcasted live here, as well as this in-person format, and then also the meeting being recorded. So we hope this has gone well for everyone in attendance here and also online. And hopefully we can move forward with the same, in the same fashion with our next meeting as well. Good question.
Andy, let me make sure I understand. So this process is beginning. There are no plans for X, Y, Z at all.
That's correct. I mean, we do have transportation plans. We do have a 5-year capital improvement program that we budget for, that we work through a process for. But this will help us be included in that program moving forward. But when it comes to a major road plan update, the city has not really seen one since the mid-90s, a major road plan update. So this will help us prepare for the future in that way. Sure.
So for things that have not taken place, or perhaps been ignored, i.e., let's take Upper Avenue, Upper States Parkway to Riverdale, melts down 4 lanes, or center turn lane, or river gutter. Was that something that I'll certainly comment on? Because it's an efficiency. Recognize that, okay, this is not just security. This is US Highway 72. And so it introduces complexity. And then you've got the TVA towers that some people say, oh, we don't have enough width between that for road widening. And I'm a little skeptical because it's accurate. We can change out the TVA towers as they illustrated and follow reference. And they went from lattice work towers to monopoles. And that was magic. Distance. Also, very what each one of those poles costs, and it construction complexities of dealing with all right, I think I understand this.
Yes. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. So the question was, is there any current projects that the city has right now that are ongoing that the public may need to be aware of? Yes, and there are several that we're working on. The one that you mentioned is a very good one. It's the Wolf River Boulevard Germantown Road intersection improvement project that has been ongoing with federal funding for quite some time. I do have good news to that. It is moving forward through the process as we work with the state for that. That is 100% funded. So it's 80% funded federally and 20% funded by the state because of Germantown Road being a state project. So we hope that project gets to construction. We believe it will by the fall of this year. Absolutely. We still want you to incorporate all of those comments because that lets us know that we have projects planned that are addressing those comments as well. Another project that we have underway, also using federal funding, 80% federal, 20% local, is improvements to Forest Hill Irene Road north of Poplar, all the way to Wolf River Boulevard. That's a project that we have at the preliminary stages of right-of-way and survey right now. Very important project. Yes, sir. Absolutely, that's a great. I would like to bring your attention to our city's website. Under our city's website, we do have a capital improvement project page where it lists all of our current city transportation projects that you can see kind of where they're located. And also we're working constantly on updating that to give you a current status. So that's a great question. I'm glad you brought that up, because that does advise the public on where we with our current projects. Any other questions for myself or our consultants?
We have one more question here virtually. There are 3 proposed new schools within the area. And the question is regarding, knowing that these 3 schools are being planned, and they will have an impact on the future use of the roads. How will that be taken into consideration with decisions regarding the roadways?
Absolutely. We always take into account major improvements to the area for any type of roadway improvements. So when it comes to the public commenting, I hope that you go online and make those comments as you've seen on the interactive map, and just make whatever improvements you would like to see in those specific areas. So we definitely want to improve whatever areas where we have new schools and major things like that coming into play, as we have done in the past. I'm sure you all recall our Forest Hill Elementary School that came online along with the Forest Hill Irene South roadway network improvements there. Those 2 came at the same time for a reason, because we saw the need to improve that roadway network with that new elementary school coming on at the same time.
So a few more slides, just to wrap up. So this was shared on the project website as well, but just for high-level next steps, we are in our first public workshop here. So that got pushed a week, so we were targeting the end of March for that. That got pushed a week due to the weather issues that we had last week. But now moving forward, and during this time now, so we're midterm of the project, I get some feedback and information to help inform the plan. In the background, we're doing a lot of traffic modeling, so to understand what the capacities are, to kind of get that base model set, and then we're going to start working towards doing recommendations. But through that time period, after this workshop, we're going to have a work session with the BMA and the Planning Commission, and then we're going to be looking at these existing and build out scenarios. Yes, sir, Kevin. I believe so. I believe any of the planning committee, yeah, those work sessions will absolutely be public. And once the logistics of those meetings are set, then that information can be pushed out to the community. Yes, sir. That's a good question. Andy, you want to take that?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Pouncey. You can bring this to City Hall and bring it in and give it to us that way if you need some time to take it home. It is a good thought, because we do have the map on there, and you may want to make some notes on the actual map and turn it in to us in person. So you can bring it up to City Hall and turn it in, and we'll have somebody up there to help serve you as well, to take those for you and bring it to us, incorporate it into the project.
And for those online and also in the room, a question came up of how long the public involvement or the map will be active for you to leave comments. As Andy just noted, if you have comments from the comment form or you want to submit, that those are going to be open, I believe, through the end of April. So the site will be available throughout the project length. Being able to provide feedback and information will be available through the end of April. So don't worry, plenty of time to provide feedback and information. And the comment form will be left open throughout the length of the project for you to provide additional feedback throughout.
Question, so I understand doing survey work,
It's a part of our, it is a current project. It does have federal funding. It's in the very preliminary stages as well, but that is an ongoing project, that Greenway connection to Collierville. The Pickering firm is one of the consultants.
We're in the NEPA phase right now, environmental. So brace yourselves for a year. We've had some go a little longer than that, with the COVID issue thing, but it is about a 3 mile long segment of Greenway, so it's got a lot of. I waited 20 minutes. Questions in relation. Germantown is essentially two different cities. North Germantown, South Germantown. We're divided by major road, major river. We went through a lot of turmoil in the last 5 years because we didn't have school on the right side. And people were living. So a school was built there. Back in the garden, the Greenway is actually practicing states. It's very well done. And you go all the way down over the park. You know, have a lot of problems. You go next door, you go to the park. That's very good. That's very accessible by me. I was just trying to I ride every day. That's right now. I see. Yeah, same people. How much more use? Every time you go on the full extension. Here's my concern. It's really limits. They don't know how to use it. Load everything. All over the stuff. So I would like to see Pickering and Germantown and everybody involved in it, trying to find more ways. That's things in license. I would propose that that's the thing. You know what the safest, safest loss. I cross it a lot. So I can go back. Close to the point. Second, next to the road, all of the traffic lights, follow the whole little spot. Okay? And if you want to come the other way, safest way going the other way, it's going to have to be. All the traffic lights. Traffic is, I mean, everybody is stopped dead still when you're going. You don't have any trouble with cars passing, doesn't matter. There's an opportunity, I understand that, road closed, that land was given back to the landowner to either side, standard practice, road down. I think it needs to be a new standard. And I think we need to go back and reclaim that land and get these domain. Don't need to have cars on it, you need to have pedestrians cross. That's one. Another point that I heard a promise not to do in my practice, right? But if you look at the extension of Kimball, it was originally days of yore to be part of Hacks Cross. you go back behind the Catholic Church, when you look around in the woods, you'll see old trumpet signs and paper. It would be an excellent place to fight pedestrian walkway, go through the traffic light, Kimball, traffic light area, and pedestrian traffic. Well, part of the neighborhood, you don't have cars going through there, we don't go in. Sure it belongs to the church now, but I bet you, so the church is donate the land or whatever. So I'm really interested in seeing the south become more to the north, and an easy way to get over here. And I'm speaking out of turn here, just to put that in your minds, because you're gonna be involved in all of this stuff. That's what I have to say. Thank you.
Well, it's a great comment. You are involved in those discussions by being here tonight, and I hope you put all of that information, either write it down tonight, give it to us later, or go on the website, put that in. It's very good input. Thank you for that, sir. Very good. Very good. Yes, sir.
I think it's important to make sure that we got three comments tonight about what's available to the public and how many public meetings regarding this. I can't think of an instance that isn't public. And I think that's important. You know, I hope everybody online and everybody understands that other than maybe a phone call from Mike to you about a question or something like that, and everything we do is in the public forum like that. As he said, we've got CIP projects that are available on the website. You know, the challenge for us in the city is different age groups get their information in different ways. And how we disseminate that information out to people is very difficult to assume that everybody gets it. Some people don't even read the utility bill paper when it comes in the utility bill, it will fill out the way there's good information on that sheet. And people that I personally ask don't read it. So if you could just, I want to be sure on the record that all of this is public record. All of this will be involved with all work sessions are open. I'll go as far as the FAC committee, Financial Advisory Committee that deals with the budget, their meetings are public. And then all of our commission and board meetings are public. You have the ability to go to any of them you want to. And it's not a Q&A, so you can see all of this evolve and all of this take place. And it's very cool. It's really a good system in how we do it, although it's not as well known as it probably should be. So I hope we'll reiterate that along the way. That this is not something that we've been working on in a room and then came to you tonight to tell you where we are and then go back and work in a room. It's not how it works.
Knowing that.
Right.
Absolutely. Great point. Overall, these are all public meetings. This one tonight is specifically designed for your input. Others, you can be more than welcome to attend and learn the city's process. We want your involvement every step of the way. We're here to serve you. That's why I have my job is to serve you. Hopefully I can do that well by getting your input needed in order to do that. And as the gentleman said in front of you as well, we need that input. We're at the very preliminary stages of this specific process. We have not had an update to this plan since the mid-90s, a major update to it. So we really need that input moving forward. And all of the meetings we have on this moving forward will be open to the public. We do have one more public workshop after we get to that concept as here shortly. I believe that's in July. So any other questions, either online or in person?
I don't know some other projects or having the police to
I think think there are additional layers you have to go.
And I saw on the map, there's a whole section. There's aerials, open streets. That's one.
It's not in the-
What was the question? Mm-mm.
Yeah, the question was about the layers. If we could possibly have, do you have that pulled up?
Yeah,
Yeah, and I think part of it too, Aaron, is looking at what is already gonna move forward with, say, a greenway extension, like if there are things that are known that are gonna be happening, can we make sure we're showing those somehow in the map?
sure. And during the initial presentation, the layer list was not refreshing because I was sharing my screen, but I've got that layer list up now. The other layers that are currently available to turn on and off on the map is the marked bike lanes that are existing. So you don't have to memorize the entire street. You can turn on and off what those existing bike lane locations are. We also have a layer for shared bike paths. So when you turn that on, you'll see that those locations turn on and off. We also have just the highway network. So you see the different types of roadways and their categorization between a minor arterial, collector, major and minor, and then the principal arterials. And then we also have a layer currently for the zoning. And if I understand correctly, the question or comment was if we could include other layers that that show proposed projects or the other projects that are in, say, the CIP and other planned construction. Is that the comment?
Yes, I believe that was the intent. But some projects that are known, that are gonna be moving forward, that have reached that point, that those are illustrated in the map too.
Sure, we can look for, we can coordinate with the city to see if those layers are available.
Yeah, and it's coordination with the city's GIS department. So I think those conversations, we just need to have those conversations to make sure we have all the information to input into the map.
And
Great point.
And to add to that, if I understood a previous comment that was said, and just for those that are on the online, and I know it's difficult to hear some of the feedback and comments presented by the audience, it sounded like there was also feedback by staff about the other available resources on the city's website, such as the CIP and the other even state traffic improvement programs, the TIP. And what we can do is on that project website, we can add a section for additional resources that will link you back to the city's main page where those other planned projects and capital improvement resources are available, so that you have another way of finding the information. As pointed out, there is a ton out there, and knowing where to go is sometimes difficult. So we will add that to the project site as a resource section to help you navigate and find the at least the right contact if you have additional questions regarding other construction projects.
And so some of the other conversation that you may not have heard clearly online was just feedback about comments about potential connections, and all of that information is going to be made public to everyone ultimately. So great conversation here. Hopefully we'll continue to get more of that as the project moves forward.
And no additional comments have come in or questions from the virtual setting as of now.
So again, wrapping up the discussion about schedule, this plan is intended to be completed in August. So we've got a lot of work to do ahead of us, but working towards that August completion. Again, here's the QR code. This code, scan this if you want to do it now, but that'll bring you to the website. But we'll continue to push out information through all the typical channels that the city does that on, and the project website will be used to give information. So with that, I think we're ready to conclude unless there's any other comments or questions.
It's a great question. We are looking at a modification to the plan every 4 to 5 years around that mark. That's kind of typical for a major road plan. And basically, if we have new subdivisions and things of that nature, additions to our roadway network come online, the plan will be modified as we move forward as well. So we'll be constantly updating the plan that way as well. But typically, you won't have a major update for 10, 15 years. But we'll be more apt to modify. Thank you. And thank you all for your input tonight. This has been a great meeting. I think this hybrid format really does work. One thing that I would like to take maybe some of your comments afterwards on how we can improve this type of comment. One thing that I think we may have next time is a microphone for those out in the audience. So maybe they could hear the questions online. That's some of the feedback that I've thought of tonight. And I'd like to hear that from you as well after the meeting too, about how we could improve our efforts in ensuring that we get as much participation and involvement as possible. So thank you so much, and I hope you have a great evening.
Should be ready for us now. How you doing? Good. How you doing?